With more and more multiplayer games going free to play, it seems like the free single-player games are becoming a lot more rare. Everyone enjoys sitting down with a good single-player game every once in a while, and there are plenty of great options to enjoy. Single-player games can take many forms, with some being demos for larger titles, and others being fully fledged games. Single-player games are much more common with smaller or indie developers, as they're the ones focusing on creating new and unique games. This causes a lot of the games to be relatively unknown titles, and they get buried deep in the Steam store. It takes quite a lot of digging to find some of these games, though some of them are very well known and have received a lot of great ratings. I'm Jay from Keyboard Gaming, and these are the best free single-player games on PC. For this list, I tried to make every game have a different style so that it's applicable to a wider audience. I've gone through tons of free single-player games on Steam, and this list is a compilation of some of the best ones I've seen. It definitely isn't all of them though, so let me know of any good ones that I may have missed. This video is part 2 of another video that I did about a year ago, which I linked here and at the end of the video. The previous video included a couple non-Steam games, but all the games on this list are available on Steam.
Hey, did you get your English midterm back? Here you go.
Starting off this list is a very story-heavy game. Life is Strange 2 follows two brothers on the run after a tragic accident occurs. Since it's a direct sequel to the first Life is Strange game, the ending you get in the first one remains relevant for the second. But if you didn't play the first game, the story of the second game won't spoil anything about the first, and it doesn't really matter which game you play first. Similarly to the first game, your choices have a direct impact on the story. You can either be a horrible person and get the bad outcomes, or you can make the characters learn from their mistakes and get the good outcomes. The effects of your choices will always matter, so you need to carefully consider every action you make. In the first Life is Strange game, the main character had the ability to manipulate time, but in the second one, the main character's younger brother has telekinetic abilities. Since the game has these supernatural aspects, you never really know what to expect. The gameplay consists of watching long cutscenes and then taking control of the characters in certain areas. It's basically like watching a playable movie, so if you don't mind watching a lot of cutscenes, then it's very enjoyable. I also wanted to mention that only the first episode is free, but that episode alone has quite a bit of content. If you do get interested in the story after episode 1, you can either buy the other episodes or watch the rest of the story on YouTube. Overall, I think people who enjoy story-based games will really enjoy this one. The Expendabros is a free spin-off of a larger game called Broforce. I'm a huge sucker for pixel physics games with lots of destruction, and this is one of the best in that genre. The larger main game, Broforce, is a parody of over-the-top action movies, complete with ultra-buff characters and explosions all over the screen. The Expendabros is a parody of the Expendables movies, with each character being a character from the movies. While there is a very thin story, the gameplay is why everyone buys this game. The maps are filled to the brim with enemies and explosives, and the main goal is to make it to the end and escape on a helicopter. As you progress, you'll find cages with new heroes, and rescuing one will change you into another character. Each character has their own special abilities and weapons, with some of them being a lot more powerful than others. You can play every level at your own pace, whether that be taking out enemies with stealth or just blowing everything up. There is always the option to play local co-op, though I find that the game is much harder with multiple people. The Expendabros is a game that you shouldn't take too seriously. If you enjoy blowing everything up in a fun pixel environment, then you're going to love this game.
Revolutionary work here. You will need this, or just interrupt me by immediately grabbing it.
Gravitas is a puzzle game similar to the Portal games. I had never heard of this game before, and the gameplay and mood of this game really surprised me. You enter a facility just like the Portal games, and you need to complete puzzles. A funny robot helper follows you around and makes comments based on what you do. If you decide to go off on your own, or do the opposite of what he tells you, he'll berate you for being dumb or not listening to him. It's always refreshing when games do things that you don't expect, and the game reacting to the player really catches you off guard sometimes. Like the name implies, All the puzzles involve using anti-gravity beams to get to the next area. The puzzles definitely aren't as interesting or unique as the ones from the Portal series, but it does give you a similar feel and style of humor. Gravitas is a short game, but it's well worth playing. The overwhelmingly positive reviews it has are well deserved, and I think it's worth playing just for the humor alone. FrostRunner is a parkour speedrunner game where you need to get to the end of the level using a variety of tether tools. Since every level has a time limit, you're forced to complete the level in as short of a time as possible. The levels start off easy, but then as you go on, you're forced to think fast and try out different paths to complete the level quicker. The environments have obstacles such as spikes, large gaps, ice slides, and lots of other things you need to avoid. The game feels extremely polished and smooth. It's very surprising how fun it was for a free game, and the developers could have easily made it a cheap paid game. FrostRunner only has 36 levels in it, so it's relatively short, but it is extremely replayable. People who enjoy speedrunning could play the same level over and over again, giving them many hours of fun. If you like fast-paced games or you enjoy speedrunning at all, then FrostRunner is a good game to try out. Shrine 2 is probably my favorite game on this list. It's heavily inspired by the older Doom games, and it's even created in the Doom engine. Despite it having that older style of graphics and gameplay, the game is surprisingly fun. One thing you should know is that the game is extremely difficult. You can easily turn down the difficulty if you want, though I find that it's much more fun on a medium to high difficulty. The game focuses heavily on exploration, and the world is extremely fun to explore. The boss battles are chaotic and the weapons all feel amazing to use. The combat is cartoonish but satisfying. The maps are littered with ammo and health pickups, which you'll definitely need to grab if you want to survive. A lot of the gameplay consists of finding keys that unlock the large doors, and then you go past those doors and find more keys. Hordes of enemies will come at you at once, and you need to use one of your many weapons to defeat them all. The whole concept is pretty simple, but it's executed very well. It's very similar to paid games such as Project Warlock, and since the game is free, it's definitely worth playing. It's hard to find free games that are this good, and if you think the gameplay looks fun, then you should definitely check it out. These 5 games are some of the best free games available, but there are many great ones that I'll cover in the future. If you know of any great ones, definitely let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to Cubold Gaming. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video.